Hello, welcome to another Stitches and Scribbles tutorial for 25 Days of Craftmas. Today we're going to be making a Mrs. Claus cowl or infinity scarf, which is a perfect thing to wear with a Santa hat or by itself if you're looking for some Christmas themed wearables without wearing a Santa hat. So I'm using the same yarn that I did for my Santa hat pattern, which is the Lion Brand Homespun in both red and white. I'm going to be starting with the red today. And this pattern you can adapt to be a cowl so that it only goes around your neck once, or a longer infinity scarf. I'm probably going to knit it as an infinity scarf because that's my preferred neck warmer piece. So I'll be probably using more yarn than you would if you were just making a cowl. I am also using 6mm needles today. You're going to start by casting on 40 stitches. So this is going to be a pretty wide cowl, but it's going to narrow up a little bit once we start our ribbing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. And this is going to be a pretty simple pattern, but it will use both knit and crochet techniques, so make sure that you have a crochet hook ready for when you're done to add the white edging. But for the body of the scarf or cowl, we're going to do a simple 1x1 ribbing. So in order to complete that stitch pattern, you're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. You're going to continue that stitch all the way across. Go ahead and continue that stitch across the rest of your piece. And once you have finished your first row, it should look something like this. So you're going to continue that knit 1, purl 1 pattern for your desired length. So again, you just start each row by doing a knit 1, purl 1. And as you're going, you should have ridges that start to form, and that's the beginning of your ribbing. So go ahead and continue the knit 1, purl 1 for the desired length of your cowl or infinity scarf. Hello again, everyone. I'm going to apologize in advance if you can hear the fan running in the background. Again, as I'm filming these very holiday-inspired tutorials, it's actually summer for me. It's currently July 6th, so it's like 95 degrees outside, so the AC is staying on. So I apologize if you can hear the fan in the background. I have finished the body of my cowl, so mine is actually quite long because I was trying to use up yarn, so mine is going to be more of an infinity scarf. But as I said previously, if you want it to be more of a cowl and only loop around your neck once, just don't make it as long. I'm going to use a normal cast off, so if you are still learning how to do this, you knit 1 stitch, knit a 2nd stitch, loop the first one over the second one, and continue that pattern. So knit 1, pull the first stitch over the second stitch. So as you go, you should be losing stitches, but they should be bound off on the other side. So we're going to do that all the way across. If you want to use a different bind off method, that's absolutely okay too. I know some people like the stretchy bind off or other varieties. You just want something where you will be able to sew it to the other end of your cowl. And just a fair warning, this yarn is really fuzzy, so if you're using the same yarn that I am, you might also be struggling with splitting stitches and stuff like that, especially during this cast off. So just a heads up. And I probably used like a skein and a half if I had bought this fresh, but as you guys saw, it's the leftovers from other Christmas projects I've done over the years, so I don't know exactly what the yardage is for this exact piece, but I do think it's about a skein and a half of the Lion Brand homespun that I used, and I'll probably use just a little bit of white. So if you bought 3 skeins of red and 1 skein of white, you could probably make the Mrs. Claus cowl and the Santa hat from the previous tutorial with just that yarn. Alright, and once you are on your final stitch, you want to pull it out a little bit. Mine got stuck. Cut your yarn, but cut it pretty long because we're going to be using this end to sew the ends of the scarf together. And just stick that tail through the loop you created to bind it off. So it should look like that on the ends. The next thing that you are going to need is a crochet hook. Normally I would use a yarn needle to sew up edges, but because this yarn is so thick, I know I'm not going to be able to get it into the needle. So I'm going to use a pretty big crochet hook. This is a 7mm one, and this will be the same one that I use for the trim later. So you take the other end of your scarf, and you want to line up the edges. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can just do a whip stitch to sew it up. You can do a mattress stitch, but because I'm already doing this with a crochet hook and I want a little bit more structure, I'm actually just going to use a crochet chain stitch to seam up this edging. Assuming I can get the crochet hook to work. Again, fuzzy yarn, not always the best with projects, get stuck on things, all that. And you want to just continue your sew up method all the way across. Alright, and once you are done, you should have something that looks like this so that it's seamed up on the edges. Our next step, if you want to, you can turn it inside out so that that seam is on the inside, whatever you prefer to do. Go ahead and flip it if you are choosing to do so. And now we're going to start our crochet trim. So the way that you do this, you start where your seam was. And if you are someone who only knits, you can always just go around and pick up stitches with the white yarn going across the edge, but I'm going to choose to make this combination project, so it'll be a little bit knitting and a little bit crochet, since I can do both, and to me crocheting around the edges is faster. Don't have to get out a set of circular needles if I don't want to, all that good stuff. So, starting with a slip knot as always. And pulling that through and doing one chain to start off. So we're just going to single crochet around. I actually think it's easier to single crochet into the edges of knitting than doing a crochet piece along the edge. So every knit stitch, you just want to put one single crochet stitch in that side. And if you haven't done single crochet before, you stick your hook through that red loop, yarn over around the hook, pull one through, yarn over again, and pull through both. And that's how you get a single crochet. And you're just going to go all the way around like this once on both sides to give a really small white trim to your piece. Alright, and here is your super cute and festive Mrs. Claus infinity scarf cowl, however long you made it. Combining some really easy knit and crochet techniques. So I will see you for our next Christmas video very soon. See you next time. Bye!